Hi there, everyone. It's Tracy Lewinand. Peter, are you there?
Peter Murray. Good morning, Tracy.
How are you doing today, Peter?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
No, fabulous, thank you. And even better now that there's a little bit of a bull run on the Bitcoin price. But the reason for this short video is just really to talk about why people should invest in Bitcoin.
Well, there are many reasons why people should invest in Bitcoin and in cryptocurrencies in general, but let's touch on them a little bit, because people are always running after the next shiny thing, trying to make, outsized returns and stuff like that. But there are very, very good fundamental reasons to invest into Bitcoin. The first thing is, that in the last 3-4 years, Bitcoin has established itself as a payment system and a cryptocurrency that can be used for payments and stuff like that. And in that sense, also as an investment vehicle, just holding some of your holdings into that currency, because Bitcoin is a natural hedge against inflation. As you know, Tracy, living in South Africa, it's very hard if you're in a country where your currency depreciates every year, your buying power goes down.
Correct.
So one of the reasons, and a primary reason for people, especially in third world countries, but it's going to also become relevant to people all over the world because of central bank money printing and stuff like that, is the fact that a cryptocurrency like, and specifically Bitcoin, has properties that would create a natural hedge against declining paper currencies. And I'm going to talk about this, the price factors a little bit, because you've got two factors that really impact the price. One is the supply of Bitcoin, and the other one would be the demand. So firstly, the two main reasons to get involved is because you have this natural hedge, but also it's a new technology and a new economy starting. That would naturally be creating a new investment market, which will create opportunities for investors over the long term. And but let's talk about the supply side factors and the demand side factors of Bitcoin. Now, the first thing is, as you know, Tracy, Bitcoin was created to be a deflationary a cryptocurrency right from the beginning. So the amount of Bitcoin has been limited the way the Bitcoin program was written. So and the supply of Bitcoin goes down over time, which should naturally underpin the price. And yeah, do you want to say something about that?
Well, I just wanted to say that July, obviously, Bitcoin creation is going down by half, from 25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes to 12.5. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens then,
Exactly, that's exactly the point. There's a halving of the amount of Bitcoin that are created in a specific time period every 4 years. And also there's only 21 million Bitcoins that will ever be created in terms of how the Bitcoin open source program was written. So, there's no central bank that can print more Bitcoin. Once all the Bitcoins are created, that's the end of the story. So there's a supply limit, and that supply limit is underpinning the price. So that is your supply side factor. And so you really have an inelastic supply that are fixed over time mathematically. So nobody can really impact the supply of Bitcoin. There might be a little bit of supply factors when people maybe stored Bitcoin for a while and then bring it to the market, but those are all short-term factors. But over the long term, supply is very inelastic. So then that means that the Bitcoin price will ultimately be determined by demand and how many people are using the coins, how many people are using the platform, because ultimately Bitcoin is a computer program. And as you know, we've been following the news now for a while. We've seen how the usage of Bitcoin is really taking off.
Yes, it's incredible. I mean, there's marketplaces that are popping up. There's just so much innovation out there. So it's a very, very exciting time to get involved with Bitcoin.
Well, the thing is, we've talked about this, this demand factors on Bitcoin for a while now. The first thing you get is you get people using the coin, which what we call consumer adoption. Where consumers are using the coins because the technology makes more sense just for normal transfer of money. Then we've got, and I'll talk a little bit about, we can talk a little bit about every factor. Then we've got institutional adoption. Then we've got government and regulatory adoption, and then ultimately the currency or the technology becomes mainstream. In terms of consumer adoption, there are many people that are using these coins now because there are many places that you can actually use them. Consumer adoption has really been going up because of the fact that you have all these debit cards and stuff like that are now linked to Bitcoin. That makes it very easy to change your Bitcoin into normal currency and to use your card wherever you are. You have one of these cards, Tracy. How do you find it?
I do.
You have a problem spending your Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's actually so simple because it's really just like a credit card, or rather debit card. So you can use it online shopping. You can use it just to draw cash at the ATM. You can also draw it to pay for something at a retailer. So it's a very, very easy, So it's actually getting Bitcoin right down into the hands of the consumer. So definitely adoption is going to go higher.
Yes, and I've been in London now. I was in London last week and the week before, and there's a lot of new fintech businesses that are starting all kinds of consumer apps and stuff that people that will use Bitcoin and that are people going to use. You can really buy. There's nothing that you cannot buy with Bitcoin. So and also there are companies now where you can actually have your wages in Europe, where you can get your wages converted into Bitcoin, and then you can fully live off Bitcoin. So Bitcoin consumer adoption is just going to go, more and more mainstream, and which takes us to the second thing, which is institutional adoption. I think the banks and big financial institutions have finally woken up to the fact that this is a new technology and that they have to embrace it. And we've been reporting on this in our a Bit Media news program, a news review, every single week now for the last, I don't know how many weeks, that this is happening. So if you guys are watching this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our Facebook page. The links will be below the video, because that will help you to keep up to date in what's happening in the Bitcoin market. But really, all your big companies are involved. Microsoft, your big tech companies are involved. All the big banks are involved in blockchain technologies. And they are also looking at rolling out consumer products going forward. And we saw yesterday in our news program that even the US Post Office are looking at using the blockchain and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of new things happening in institutional world. But then another very exciting part is that Bitcoin is really now going mainstream in terms of how people are looking at it to be regulated, and brings us to one of the main reasons, I think, why we've had a almost 7% spike in Bitcoin price overnight. And one of the reasons for that is that the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission in the United States have come out and they've given a license to one of the Bitcoin exchanges to trade a Bitcoin as a full-on commodity, and with the ability to write swaps and futures and swaps and forwards on Bitcoin. Now, if you're not involved in the trading community, you might not understand what this means, but what it actually means is that you can actually now buy Bitcoin forward, almost like you can buy currency forward or stuff like that. And it just creates more and more places for people to trade Bitcoin. And it's going to be very exciting. You saw that article, Tracy.
Yes, I did indeed. So, and once you explained it to me, I got even more excited.
Well, the thing is, firstly, this gives a huge stamp of approval from the US have two regulatory bodies. One is called the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Securities and Exchange Commission actually regulate all securities. Securities are things like shares, shares in companies that you can buy on the stock market, things like that. And then commodities are things like wheat and and oil and um,
Sugar.
physical goods and currencies. Okay, and these are all regulated by the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. Now, what the reason why I'm bullish about this at the moment is there's a big elephant in the room that I don't think a lot of people are even looking at this stage, and they are called the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Now, if you are not aware of who the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is, this is the biggest financial exchange in the world. If you've been watching Bloomberg or you've been watching any financial news, you would have seen, you always seen reports from the New York Stock Exchange and the stock prices, or from the London Stock Exchange. But in actual fact is those guys are dwarfed by the size of money that's actually exchanging hands every day on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, because the Chicago Mercantile Exchange trades the biggest commodity in the world, which is money. It trades all the US government bonds and most government bonds of every other country in the world. And it also trades all the currencies, the US dollar, the euro, whatever. It's the major exchange for those currencies. And the Chicago Mercantile Exchange are going to look at this and say, here's a new currency that the CFTC has granted someone a license for, and that those people are going to become our competition. So, and I'm pretty sure, I'll put money on that they are looking at listing a Bitcoin futures and options contract on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Now, to give you guys an idea what the impact of this would be, this would mean that every single commodities trader that are registered and have an account registered with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange could buy Bitcoin, would be able to buy Bitcoin futures, and would, if they list the option contract, would be able to buy and sell options on Bitcoin. The amount of trading that you will see going into Bitcoin is tremendous. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of accounts on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Like I said, this is the biggest financial exchange in the world, trading trillions and trillions of dollars a year. And if they list a Bitcoin contract, there is really no limit in the amount of transactions that can take place on Bitcoin. Also, everybody that already have accounts with the CME, they don't even need a Bitcoin wallet, because they would be able to trade Bitcoin in their accounts in US dollars. So they don't need Bitcoin wallets. They don't need to open a new account with Bitcoin Exchange. It just puts Bitcoin into a current system of liquidity that's unbelievable. So, and you will have a new a currency where market makers can come in and make a market for buyers and sellers of those coins. So those are all very exciting things, just from a perspective for Bitcoin.
Peter, this is incredible news. Absolutely incredible news. I mean, it's almost. I mean, it's no stopping Bitcoin. Absolutely no stopping Bitcoin.
Well, there's a further thing to this, and this is my final point, which is investment adoption, or investor adoption. This is when your big funds and your hedge funds and your pension funds and your fund managers or asset managers and financial advisors start getting involved in the Bitcoin market, start putting up funds to buy Bitcoin. We've seen a little bit of this happening, but if some hedge funds just start allocating, and pension funds start allocating a little bit of their allocation to something like Bitcoin. And remember, the fact that Bitcoin is now listed, if the CME lists Bitcoin on their platform as a commodity, that would mean that any commodity trading advisor, of which there are thousands in the United States, and they all trade funds for private individuals and stuff, they all manage money. They all have the ability to invest in Bitcoin. Restriction on the amount they can put in their portfolios. So it could be very, very interesting to see what happens over time. So, you know, and the Bitcoin price, I mean, I don't think you can be bullish enough about the Bitcoin price if you see this. So, you know, those factors, the fact that we've got a limited supply of these coins, the fact that we have a new technology that are creating all kinds of new applications all the time, the fact that we've got all these demand side factors, consumer adoption, we've got institutional adoption, we've got regulatory and government adoption now, because that's effectively what the CFTC things means. It means it's a stamp approval from a regulatory, one of the biggest regulatory bodies in the world. And the last one is investor adoption, where the investment community actually starts to hold Bitcoin. I can't see, and this is all relatively new. And how can there be a better case for anybody, an investment case? This is a long-term investment case for a currency that has only started its life and are going to continue for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's a deflationary currency. So whereas other currencies lose value over time, Bitcoin, because of the way the supply side was developed, is going to gain money over time. So from an investor point of view, it would be crazy for you not to become involved, even just with a little bit of money, and become a Bitcoin investor and at least know what this market is going to be and educate yourself about the opportunities in this.
Well, Peter, thank you very much for that, because I totally agree with you. You and I are definitely on the same page. And really, talking to anybody listening to this short interview is, get started, get going. I mean, it really doesn't have to. Don't think now that you have to. You have to have millions of rands to invest. No, it's not that at all. You can start as small as you can afford, and you just keep going. This is definitely a place that we are watching this closely and monitoring to see how this price is going to go and what further adoption is going to happen along the way. So very, very exciting place to be in.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Peter.
All right.